Hello there, everybody. My name is Ashante Brown,
Devin Walker.
Ezra Curious.
and we are from South Dade One Voice Community Coalition, as well as Be Strong International. And today we are going to be discussing with you drugs, alcohol, and how that relates to relationships. Okay? So one thing we can first go ahead and talk about is relationships and alcohol, can they mix? Okay? So in order to get into that first, we have to say, what do we know about alcohol? So what we know about alcohol, that it is a substance. In fact, in the United States, it is one of the most widely used substances among youth. And that can pose a lot of risk. For one, alcohol should not be consumed until the age of 21. And not only that, but the brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25. So by consuming alcohol before that time period, you open yourself to legal consequences as well as problems with your health, with your cognitive, as well as relationships. So, now that we know that, how can, alcohol in your relationship, how can that be problematic?
Well, I think it has to do with the stage of the relationship is in. For example, if like you just met this person and the point is you wanna get to know them.
Right.
Now, alcohol, if I'm not mistaken, messes with your judgment. So how can you get to know this person if whenever you're with them you're always drinking?
Right.
So it's kind of difficult to gauge, because you don't know if it's the first time you meet them. You want to get to know them, and even after you let's say, they've been in a relationship, they start something, you gotta be sharp about some stuff. I mean, not everyone out there is like a bad person,
Right.
but there's some stuff that quirks, what have you, that you might not like in that person, and for you it's like, no, I can't deal with somebody who does that.
Right.
And they're like sometimes are nuanced, and if you're not sharp, if you're not like really focused on watching for that stuff, it's gonna be bad for you. You're gonna discover that because you're gonna have to stop drinking eventually, and because life is not only you don't drink it all the time. So when you're both sober, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you're like this. What is this? So you want to avoid that. You want to find out about the person early on, and that's why I think at the beginning it shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
Right.
It shouldn't mix.
So, with that being said, like you say that you have to find out about that person. What if they're good at hiding that, and then you find out later? Do you have to pay attention to the tendencies they'll have when they drink? Like if you notice that person drinks a lot more than a normal person would, and you notice that at an early stage, in like a relationship standpoint, would you approach that first thing or?
Yeah, because it's like when you're in a relationship with somebody, the question that you always gotta ask yourself is, once you discover something about someone, is can I live with this? Can I live with this? Then you gotta be like, sometimes it's hard because sometimes the answer is like no, and then that's what the feeling, because your feelings are into, because if you like this person, but I love them, but they have this thing, and I don't know, and that's the conflict that you have. Now, everybody is different. For me personally, I like to address the subject matter like right away. Cause when I was dating my wife, I told her, look, I'm not gonna hide nothing. If you find something ugly, you let me know, cause I was of the mindset, that's just me, that I didn't want to waste my time, and I didn't want to waste her time, because I seen people's relationships like be just a mess in the past. And I wanted to avoid that, because I care for her, but I was also conscious that, hey, maybe I'm not for her. Maybe she's not gonna like me, and it is what it is. But that's my viewpoint. But you also have to consider your background. Maybe your parents drank, and that for you is normal behavior, seeing someone drunk. And if you can live with that, then go for it. But you gotta go in there with your eyes wide open. Like it might not be a perfect situation, but yes, I will address it. And like, is this how you drink all the time, or only weekends, or what's going on? And depending on what they say, you go, oh, okay, then you make your decision.
Right. Okay, and so let's say like you have teenagers. They're dating. Teenage relationships can be seen as different than adult relationships, because they may not be on that same mature level. So if you have teenage relationships, how would you address that if one of the partners is drinking, or there's somebody who casually drinks or binge drinks at parties and things like that? How would you address that?
Well, it has to do with background too. Like because look, I can recommend. This is something we do talks around in schools, and I always tell the kids, this is your life. You only got the one, and you have to make choices that you have to make. Right. And sometimes the choices are not good. Sometimes the choices are like, I can't hang out with you. You're my friend for X number of years, and because of the environment that you hang out with, I can't do this. You know, and that's a hard choice to make.
It is.
Sometimes the best way that, you know, it's to, I recommend, but this is an extreme, this is not for everybody, it's not to be around them anymore. Because, you know, there's a study that, I've heard it before actually, not a study. There's a saying that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with. So if you hang around with everybody who drinks, eventually they're gonna pull you into that. Yeah, the peer pressure, exactly. So like if it was up to me giving that advice, you know, it's like I would try to stay away from there, from that environment, from that relationship, because if let's say you want to control your drinking or something like that, you want to stay away from that type of people. Not cut them off completely, but maybe hey, let's hang out once a month, you know. And as far as relationship goes, it's like. I don't know, like alcohol, it's very subtle. It's a very subtle thing. You start just socially, and then you drink more, and then next thing you know, it's taking over your life.
Yeah, and we've met a child that said that it was like, oh well, if I'm at a party and I see everyone drinking, then I'm just gonna drink because everyone's drinking.
Yeah.
It's the cool thing to do, and it's not because it can lead to so many different behaviors, fighting. Your friend can, oh, I'm ready to leave, and they go and drive off and get into a car accident, and that can be deadly in itself. So, yeah.
Yeah, like that's look. My background is like, you know, my mom and my dad, you know, they're very conservative, and they never drank. My father, you know, he grew up with having a stepbrother who drank when he was you know, really small, and he saw him drunk, and like it just turned him off. So he never tried alcohol. And you know, he when he taught our brothers and sisters, you know, how like stay away from alcohol. And you know, like from what I understand, like so I've never gotten drunk, but from what I see is like alcohol diminishes, like I said, your judgment. But think about this. Let's say you go to a party, right, and everybody gets drunk, right, but you don't drink. You're the smartest person in the room at that point. You can see everything. And you know, that's cool.
It's all unfolding in front of you, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. You see things in the because when you're on alcohol, like you know, it releases. I think it removes your inhibitions. So whatever is keeping you from misbehaving is off.
Right.
Like alcohol says, you know, hey man, you should totally get on the table and dance because you're a great dancer. Or alcohol tells you, man, take on this guy who's like 3 times your size in a fight. You could do it, man. Like no, so that's gonna mess you up. The decisions are gonna mess you up.
Yeah, because you're right. It's a scare tactic too. You saying how everybody reacts to this alcohol, you're just like, hold on, this is probably not for me.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a level head. But like I said, it's because again, you have to look into yourself and see what what it is, because this is something that I teach the kids too. Like we're the product of our homes. Maybe this is my view on drinking. This is not. I understand this is not everybody's view on drinking. You know, but maybe your parents just drank a little bit, and for you it's a normal thing for somebody to drink, and that's okay, that's fine. But you have to gauge what you want to do, what you're gonna do with your life, because if you let it go, if you don't know watching that, you know, if you're not careful with that, it could destroy your life.
Right. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you know something that can arise from drinking, especially if you start early, is addiction. You know, you can become addicted to alcohol as well as any other substance. So you know, as a parent, let's say you're a parent, you have a child, how would you go ahead and communicate that to them to try and get that point across that, you know, you may see it as a casual thing, but it can possibly lead to addiction. How would you go ahead and talk to a child about that?
Excuse me. I would address the subject. It's like kind of like smoking, you know, because people like it's no mystery. Smoking can hurt you, But I would tell them, look, this is the studies. Like if you I just want the best for you. And basing off on the upbringing that I had, I'll tell them, look, please don't drink. You can, when you're 18, you can make your own decisions. You can do whatever, you know. And then you can tell them, you can, at 18 you can do whatever you want. But I would love it if you're asking me my opinion, my guidance to you is like, don't do that, don't do it. But that's the thing. Like I think that's the question that a lot of teenagers make their parents, and you know. I think that the parents' job needs to be from way before you get to that point.
Right.
You know, like early. Yes, tell them, look, don't drink this. It's like the same thing. You don't give coffee to a baby.
Right.
You just don't. So they say, look, this is not for you yet. And as they grow old, you tell them, look, this happened because of this and this. My mom, her relatives, she had, I think, an uncle that died because he just passed out and the house got on fire and he suffocated.
Oh wow.
It's just like, they got to stop the fire, but he breathed the fumes and he died because he was drunk. So like she would tell us, those cautionary tales, something that she lived from first-hand experience. And that's what you have to do. It's like you're planting a seed in your child's life. It's a long process. So you have to be constant about it. Tell them, look, this is what happened. Just warn them. That's what I would do. I mean, it's like a lot of work, but if given the question, because some people, just, I need to know, what's your opinion? My opinion is that. It actually is the same thing with tattoos. You come and ask me, hey, Dad, can I get a tattoo? Like, nah, man, but when you're 18, you can do what you want because it doesn't look good after a while. Yeah. But you can do it, so I tell them like that. As long as you dedicate the time, you throw in the seeds and teaching is a constant thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing when it comes to, informing kids. And they do say, research states that, parents who talk to their kids about alcohol from an early age, they're less likely to drink. The same with drugs because, they're getting that information from their parents. So, they're more open to communicate with them when it comes to those substances. So that's a really great point.
Yeah.
Okay, so is my boyfriend and girlfriend an addict? So now we're going to go ahead and talking about, dating somebody who is an addict. And, as we know that addiction, it is very dangerous. It could be dangerous for you as well as the people around you. But there are identifiers that can alert you, or warn you that somebody is an addict or is becoming an addict. Now those identifiers, they can be physical, so like a change in sleep schedule or a change in hygiene habits. They can also be emotional or behavioral, so, mood swings, losing interest in things that they were before always excited about, or, job performance, a decrease in job performance. So once you have those identifiers, which, depending on the substance, of course it can change because every substance, affects you differently, how would you go about, dealing with that?
Well, I would let's say if I was dating someone who was an addict, and I mean this is assuming the point that you're serious about trying to establish a relationship with this person and you care for them, and I notice those things, I'll be like, what are you doing? I will address this up. Okay, what's going on? I noticed this. I noticed that, and then you have to see. Okay, then as a person, do I stay with them? Do I break up with them? Do I help them? What do you do? Then you have to make a choice. Right. And again, the motivation is not, it's kind of selfish, but it's not. Because like I mentioned before, you got the one life. You got the one life. Are you okay with being with a husband or wife or a boyfriend, girlfriend who is hammered all the time or high all the time? They can't hold down a job. They're going to get in trouble with the law eventually because if you're around drugs, I mean, eventually you're going to have some sort of, crossing over the law or whatever. The environment that they hang out with, the people who like they're friends with, are not good people to hang out with if you're not into drugs. Right. This is something that you're not into drugs. I'll tell them, look, you need to let me know. And depending on their response, because they could either lie to you or they could say, no, it's not a big deal or something. But if there's a reason why you notice this changes. Something is going on. Something. And you need to, maybe you're not an expert in addiction, but you notice, why can't you hold on a job? Where's the money for the paycheck that he gave you? Where's, why are you always like this? And speak the truth, and try it. Because, again, this is what I would do. I would tell them, look, I noticed that you have, do you have a drug problem? Okay, let's say that you have a drug problem, and tell them, do you want to get help or not? Yeah, and that will, that will decide fates right there.
Right. Yeah. Because I heard that, when it comes to addiction or trying to help somebody get help, you can't force them. They have to be ready and willing to do it themselves, or else it's not going to work.
Yeah, because
that addiction is strong. It's hard to just stop it. It has to be a process. It can't just be overnight. So, for in relationships, there are times where the significant other, they see their partner using drugs or drinking a lot, and then they would do it too, just to be a part of that. Yeah. So how would you deal with a relationship where the significant other does it also, just because their partner is using or doing or drinking alcohol?
Yeah, that's it's a very difficult time because you have to look into yourself. It's because you gotta hold yourself to a mirror. You gotta say, you gotta fight the peer pressure, not follow what they do, You know, why do you feel the need that you have to do drugs? You know, and like I guarantee you, if anybody out there is thinking about it, is that doing drugs is not gonna make anything better. It's just not. Maybe you feel good in a little bit, but in the long, it's not. It's gonna destroy you. It's gonna eat you up. So there's something in you that is like agreeing to go with it, even though there's a lot of information about it. I mean, at this point, everybody would know drugs are bad. At some point, either media or school, whatever. You know, there's a you know, nobody says, I want to be a meth head when I grow up. Nobody wants that. You know, so like you have to look into yourself, like, what's going on with me? Why do I want to do that? You know, and it's some people don't do that. They live their life without looking into themselves and examining themselves, and it's hard to do.
Right.
But again, you got the one life, and then it's over. And then, if I'm not mistaken, depending on what type of drugs they're doing, all they need is one try, and then you're hooked, and then that's it. That's it. So you can't even allow yourself that one thing, that one first time, because something you build resistance to it. So next time you need more of the same drug to feel the same high as before, and it just escalates, and you know that's just not good. So I would have to take a long, hard look at myself and say, or why do I feel the need to do this? Why do I always have to make my friends happy? You know, what's up with that? When are they gonna make me happy? You know, you gotta understand why you do the reasons, the things that you do. That's how I would approach it.
Okay. And you know, it's great that you mentioned the media in your last statement. And so, you know, for young people, you know, they see everything in the media, and a lot of times, like music or TV shows, they see or hear a bunch of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So sometimes social norms can come from that. So what is a way that you can possibly try and combat that, to let them know, like, I understand you're seeing this, you're hearing this, but these are the facts behind it. These are the truths behind it.
Okay, like from the parent aspect to a child, is that what you mean?
You can say parent for a child, or a friend to a friend, because you know they all watch the same thing.
Yeah, like every family has a way of working. You know, either good or bad, whatever. Everybody, there's rules in your house.
Right.
And you know, there's some rules that your mom and your dad or whoever raised you up said, don't do this. And those are the values that the family has. Like, for example, my dad used to say, no, we don't do that. You know, we don't do that because the family and we just don't do it. So there's rules. But they vary from family to family. So the best that you can do as a parent is to transmit those values to the child. If your value is don't do drugs, then you gotta put the effort in. Because as a parent, like you said, you know, how can you protect a child from media?
Right.
It's everywhere. So it's impossible that you're gonna be with them 24 hours a day, and also you cannot, you know, raise a bubble person like that. Those completely. So what the best you can give them is the tools to say, okay, this is not good for me. This is good for me. And it's a long process because it's a trial and error. You know, you say, is this good? No, I tried no, and then sometimes they make mistakes.
Right.
But it's an ongoing process to say, look, I know you see that on the media, but this is what we believe in, and this is the reason why. And then, you know, there's ways to do that, but because I remember, like, you know, my mom used to tell me, don't do this. And sometimes he would tell me, that's why. And sometimes he says yes. Sometimes he says because I said something. Like, I did that. But there's reasons why, you know, sometimes I just thank God she didn't tell me what she told me, but later on she told me I didn't do this because of this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I will have that weight of the information in my head, you know, and I wouldn't be able to handle it. So sometimes it's like that. But I think especially when the child goes into transition to teenage, it's important to get in there and speak into their lives because they're hearing a lot of voices. And you know, the voices of the parents in the teenager is crucial. Is crucial in which develop the values, because that's where they go astray. When you're a toddler, a baby, all right, you're good, you got this, because they're around. They need to be there. But when they go to school, like I remember I said something, and I'm like, where'd you learn how to say that? Like, because we don't say that yet.
It's good.
From the outside. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a process. You know, as parenting, from what I hear, you know, it's only getting harder and harder and harder with every successive generation. But the principle is still the same. If you instill the values in your child and you say, like, for example, one of them is don't steal, always tell the truth. And then, you know, they're going to know that it's hard. It's hard because, you know, for example, one of the rules that my mom did, you know, because we know we're little kids, no one eats in the living room. No one eats in the living room.
No eating in the living room. No eating in the
living room. No one.
Sit on my sofa.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it.
Exactly. And tell me that my mom didn't want to put the plastic covers, you know, when I stick to you. Like, I hated that. So she did, so no one eats in the living room. So when I would go to a friend's house, they've been bringing the pizza. Like, what are you doing in the living room? What's wrong? Exactly.
Yeah.
So every house is different. You know, the rules that you set for your house. You know, then they gotta see. Oh, okay. So if my mom told me to do this, my parent, told me to do this. But if it's in them, you don't need to worry about it because they can filter it out.
Right.
But it is difficult. It is.
Okay.
So like, when it comes to relationships, I would say like, okay, what if you have a partner who's using or drinking alcohol and they become very abusive? How would you deal with that? Or
Okay.
how would you tell somebody or help somebody deal with that?
It's like, say if somebody comes to me and they're in that type of relationship, it's a long process. Why? Because the people who are in that type of relationship, it takes them a lot of times to break free from that person. Because a lot of the times they develop a codependency in the person, and they think that this person is the only person for them, that they love them, but this is they told me they're not gonna do it again, or they're not gonna treat me like this anymore, and it's like a cycle, and it's very hard to break that cycle. Because I was looking at a documentary of people who adopt kids and tell them, oh no, you're my kid now and you can't go back. That they are like cult members. It takes about 7 tries before the cult member is free from that, because in their mind they develop this just world that this person is the only person in the world. And I would tell them like, look, this is not healthy. I would approach them and tell them, look, I know you care for them, but it's like hugging a cactus. It's not gonna get better. It's just not. If you love them, you gotta take a little step back, or ask for help, or that's what I would tell them, because I've seen that, and it's sad. It's just sad because they can't get out. The people, think about it. You're in a prison and you don't know how to get out. And sometimes you want to get out. Sometimes they don't even want to get out. But if you care for this person and you care for them, you gotta try. You gotta try. You gotta say something to them, because unfortunately, ultimately, it's their decision.
Right.
But if you, as a friend, if you care for them, they're not gonna like you. Maybe they're gonna, they're not gonna be your friend anymore. But you did what's right, because sometimes being a friend is telling you no. Sometimes being a friend is like, look, man, you got something stuck in your teeth, bro. It looks disgusting. You gotta clean that out.
Right.
So there's ways to do it. You gotta take off, man. I was noticing that you didn't, but there's ways to do it. But you have to do it if you're their friend. If you don't care, do whatever the heck you want. But like it's easier if the person, let's say that if you're in that relationship, I'll tell you, if you're my friend, it's easy when it's a friend. We have some sort of connection with the family, some sort of relationship. But as I said, if a stranger comes out of the blue and tells you, hey man, you gotta get out, it's not gonna be the same thing.
Right.
So say something, even though it's very hard for them to break out of that relationship. So imagine, like maybe it's a wife and they have kids. It's not an easy answer.
Right.
There's no way. There's no easy. I mean, it's possible. There's organizations there, that help you do that. But even then, it's tough. It's really, really tough. But you, as a friend, you have to say something. You have to talk to them. I don't know. If it gets like, think about it. Imagine if you're you see a mugging. What, are you not gonna do anything? You gotta do something.
Yeah, let somebody know.
Yeah.
Call
Whether
them.
it's call the police, or if you want to physically get involved.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if physically get involved, because I'm fight.
No.
I got into fights in school. My record is not that good. It's really bad. So I don't think I'll be good in a fight. But you gotta do something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I would do. Talk to them. Talk to them to the side. Maybe there's religious organizations that can help out. I'll tell them, look, you shouldn't be here, but look, this person has an organization that can.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the issues that they're dealing with is out of the scope of your knowledge too. Like I don't even know how to if somebody with a child, I would ask for help. I would try and connect them with an organization, because I can't handle that. I can't. I want to help, but you gotta be like honest enough with yourself. Like, I don't know enough about the subject, but I can help you get somebody who can. And be there in the meeting. Is it alright if I'm there when you talk to them? Because you gotta learn, because if you run into this one time, you're gonna probably run into it again. You gotta have the tools ready to help them.
Right. And so, let's say we're at a point in time where somebody has an addiction, they know they have an addiction, and they want to get help. Of course, let's say they go to their partner and they say, look, I have this problem, I want to get help, I don't know what to do. What is some ways that that person can help them?
Support. So
Support?
yeah, I don't know what that means. It means different thing for different people. Let's say that the person is the breadwinner, the one who has addiction and wants to break free. So he's maybe gonna have to quit their job because, if I'm not mistaken, let's say they find a place, it's like, and they have to go live in that place, and they can't get out, from my understanding. So the other person is gonna need to support the household, or it means differently. But again, it depends. Like, I would offer support. If it was my wife or my significant other, whatever, I'll tell them, look, I'll do this, but you get help, because I can't help. I'm not an addiction expert. I don't know how to break people out from addiction. But the process for that is like, look, they have to be sequestered, they have to be live in this place for X amount of time. So support. Maybe does that mean living in a smaller house because we can afford it, living with family. Like, do everything you can so that the person can get help. Because it's gonna be an uphill battle for them.
It's not simple.
It's not. It really isn't. So that's why some people say like, "Oh, you're not fun because you always say no." But like, it's better to never have to deal with this again, as to going through all of this, because it's just gonna hurt a lot more. But people don't learn. Some people don't learn. Some people gotta wanna learn from their own pain. But,
and then the only excuse, but I love her, or but I love him, and.
Yeah, but you see, because like emotions, we're human beings, emotions play into it. But you know how easy it is for us on the outside, out of the relationship?
Yeah.
That person is not good. You can judge because you have a different perspective on things. You're mired in it, you got these blinders on. So imagine in drugs, like drugs also affect your judgment. So it's even worse,
But people can use drugs or drink alcohol based off of the stresses of life. Like if this woman knows that her boyfriend is cheating on her, and she deals with it by smoking weed. Oh, I'm gonna go over here and just ease my mind, not even think about it. I know he's doing it, but I don't want to address him. Or if a woman is being abused and she drinks it away, basically drink the pain away. So it's you never know what someone's going through. And why they're using the drugs or why they're drinking so much. So that ties into it also.
Yeah, and sometimes this doesn't even have to be drugs. It could be food.
Overeating.
You overeat, so it's hard, like, again, if you're a friend, you gotta say something. Why are you getting so fat, dude? Like, what is it? No, I needed my feet. Okay, let's talk about it. But, if it's by yourself, it's harder. It's harder because, like, you're perfect.
Yeah.
We're all right. We're all right all the time. There's nothing wrong with me. No. So, but see, it's hard. So we have these mechanisms in our mind that we excuse everything away. No, I'll just take this little drink. I'll just take this little thing, and we don't see it.
Right. And
so
sometimes it's like you don't want to tell somebody because you don't want that judgment to be added onto you, because like you're already judging yourself because you're doing it, and it's like somebody asking you, telling them they're gonna act, they're just on top of you, and it's like sometimes you just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, like, because if you're in it, it's hard to see stuff. So if anybody's in it, and because you gotta listen to what they say, not to what everybody else says, but if everybody tells you the same thing, there's something there. There's gotta be something there. You gotta be humble enough to say, hey, maybe I need help. Maybe I should look into this. Maybe you find out that maybe people are just talking nonsense. Maybe you discover that, but then you learn. But like, it's harder when the substance is not illegal. That's what I think. It's not illegal to overeat. You can do whatever you want. It's not illegal to drink alcohol. This is America. You can do whatever the heck you want. Like, if it's an illegal drug, you get arrested, whatever. There's some sort of difficulties for you to keep on doing the same thing. But it's harder when it's, some people, act out in different ways. And they try to soothe themselves through different things. So, yeah.
And do you have, personally, your organization, do you guys have resources that, you can give people who are struggling with this sort of thing? or are you one who like can send them somewhere else, like resource them out?
Like for example, when we go to schools, some of the kids approach us and tell us,
Mhm.
look, this is what I'm going through.
Mhm.
And for example, we can give what we usually do is give them advice and tell them, look, if it's a violent thing, we have partners, and we ask them to call in or email us, and we'll connect you with the partners, with the organizations that we know can help them.
Mhm.
Because we can't help everybody,
Right.
and there's, like I said, there's some issues that we're just not equipped to handle, but we know some other organizations who can. A couple of weeks ago, there was an organization who specializes in giving bereavement counseling for children who lost parents.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a heavy thing.
Yeah.
You know, and some kids, you know, tell us, oh look, because I feel like this because my parent passed away. And so we tell them, look, give me a call and give you a contact, it's free, and they do that.
Mhm.
So like, that's what our organization does. If it's relationship advice, you know, we teach them the principles and we teach them the steps or the warning signs of a relationship, stuff that's going on. But if not, they could just, you know, reach us and we'll try to get you the help that you need through all the partners that we have. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So, okay,
Yeah.
so anybody want to add anything else?
No.
Okay, well, once again, I'm Anshante,
Devin Walker.
Ezra Curious.
and we are from South Dade One Voice Community Coalition, as well as Being Strong International. Thank you for joining us today.
Check you next time on our next podcast.
See you.